Hello, friends, loved ones, Greg. I watched Domestic Girlfriend, or as it's originally called, something Kanojo. Why did I do this? People demanded it. A sequel to my magnum opus, which is not public on YouTube.
If you don't know me personally, perhaps I'll upload it in the future, but I have to go through the effort of editing someone's name out of it, which I was going to upload publicly for the masses, but I don't have the original file, and I'd have to find the music I was playing during the scene, which is really a hassle.
But I digress. This is, in fact, somewhat of a sequel. I came upon this anime on a recommendation. I was told that it was not good, and I immediately had expectations based on the limited things I had heard about it. I expected some amount of incest, or perhaps some grooming of some sort. Did I get that? Maybe? Oh, also, I watched the dub for this anime, and I'll be using those clips for the review. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. I'll go into more details later, but I wouldn't call this anime completely worthless, unlike Nisei Monogatari, so if you have any interest, I'm about to spoil the whole thing. Let's start this piece of shit show. Fuck, edit that in later. You just gotta crop out this thing, pick a selection, move it up there. There we go. The first episode begins very slowly with this girl laying in bed with the main character, but we don't know that yet because it just started. But I know. The main character professes that he just lost his virginity moments ago. He jumps at his friend and hugs him, saying that he's soft, but not as soft as a girl. His friend wants to know all the details, so here's the details. There's a sign that says Bebzi. Also, he meets a girl named Rui after going out with his friends, and she invites him back to her place. You know, to have sex.
Will you have sex with me?
She says she wants to because she wants to know what it's like and because people tend to devalue the experiences of those who haven't had sex. I actually do like this message a bit, as I feel people can be very condescending on the subject. So they exchange some anime reaction noises, they fuck, and everyone's disappointed. The main character, whose name is Natsuo by the way, says that he's going to regret losing his virginity the way he did. His friend is very unimpressed with this story. I know that this was meant to show that Natsuo shouldn't have done it with her because he didn't know her or like her and she had very little interest in him either, but I don't really know what my man was expecting. Even if it was a good story, what did you expect, to get your rocks off right then and there? Nah, apparently this shit ain't good enough for the whole hog. Why did I write that? Part of the reason he expresses that he's regretful of his random sex encounter is because he currently likes someone at the moment. The next day, a very chipper girl shows up on the school rooftop where he's writing a story, and the interaction is very awkward. Oh, that was apparently his teacher and the girl he's interested in. Her name is Hina. That's the third of 5 characters I remember the name of. Upon my recommendation of this show, I was told that she was hot. I disagree. He goes back later onto the roof and finds her crying. She gives a shit-ass excuse and he presses further. She then says that it's a problem that only adults can understand.
Anime reaction noise.
He doesn't like that. He goes back home and his dad tells him that he's remarrying and that her 2 daughters will be moving in with him. Thanks for the heads up, Dad. The 2 girls, conveniently, that will be moving in with him are Rui, the girl he had sex with, and Hina, his teacher that he likes.
So then that makes us family now, Fu.
Please don't. His teacher is kind of creepily flirtatious for a while, and she finds out that Natsuo and Rui have met before. Natsuo tells his friend the events that have happened, and his friend advises against pursuing Hina further as he feels like it'll make things more awkward. Rui then tells him to forget about everything that happened between them and to stop acting weird. Right after that, Hina walks out of the shower with nothing but her underpants on, fully aware that there are other people in the room, and then she freaks out that Natsuo is there. I guess she was just perfectly fine with her mom and stepfather seeing her like that. I don't know. Unrelated to that scene, he just keeps staring at her ass and boobs all the time. Then he starts fucking ogling her while she's sleeping and then makes a very normal human decision to kiss her while she's sleeping. Fucking brilliant. Rui then walks out and catches him because they're in the busiest room in the house and he does this face. Rui transfers into Natsuo's school because, of course she does. She wants to be open to everyone in the school about them living together, but Natsuo doesn't want people to know. Once again, she is really cold and says she doesn't want to talk to him at school. His school friends, of course, want to know what's going on, but nothing gets past Natsuo. They refer to each other as step-siblings, and I think the internet has just ruined my perception of the term step-siblings. I guess they technically are, but I think it would be best for everyone if they were just considered roommates. But the show's gotta exist somehow, and roommates fucking just isn't interesting enough. Hina doesn't know about Natsuo trying to kiss her in her sleep, but she asks Natsuo if she made out with him while she was drunk. as it is apparently something she tends to do. Natsuo tells her they didn't, and she's relieved at this. Natsuo wants to help Rui make some friends, but apparently Rui didn't have to even do anything, as people are already trying to be friends with her, and she was a cold bitch. Detective Natsuo figures out that Rui is socially awkward. Then they use the term normie. I don't really have anything to add, I just thought that was worthy of note. If they're trying to portray Rui as someone who has social anxiety or just doesn't pick up on social cues, it's pretty bad. I feel like this happens with a lot of characters, particularly anime characters who are supposed to be people who don't understand social standards, but they end up just being a dick. Natsuo and Rui decide to practice a social interaction to get her used to talking to people, but she completely fucks it up so it looks so dumb that people interpret it as them performing a skit.
Transgender?
But because that skit was so epic and kawaii desu, everyone wants to be Rui's friend suddenly. I don't think Rui is capable of holding friends. Later, Natsuo is incapable of knocking, so he walks in on Rui bathing and gets all embarrassed. Rui seems perfectly comfortable with this though, because he's already seen her naked before, so it doesn't matter. I don't know if people actually feel this way in real life, or if it's just like an ecchi romance thing as an excuse for having a conversation while one of the characters is naked. Either way, this never made any sense to me, and this is particularly bad with the situation they are in now. Natsuo says he'll come back later, but Rui insists that they talk right now because convenience. While Natsuo is yelling at her about shit, he has a fantasy where she asks him to have sex with him again while standing in the doorway naked. Then Rui finally asks him about Hina. Natsuo doesn't really answer and just stares off with a Natsuo glazed over face. He makes this face a lot. Rui tells Natsuo the reason Hina was crying on the top of the roof is because she's been having some relationship issues with her boyfriend, but then she just bails in the conversation. Rui is apparently very good at cooking, and Natsuo does one of those really over-the-top reactions to food which bothered me on a personal level. I would not be able to handle food wars. He asks Hina about her boyfriend, and she tells him to mind his own fucking business, and then she asks him about his problems. Natsuo says he doesn't have any besides his hair. What a carefree life you must have lived up to now, Natsuo. That's your hair? Well, on the topic of hair, Hina tells Natsuo to feel her hair, and she slips and he catches her in a freeze frame moment because romance. I've always wondered about these freeze frame catches. Is it supposed to signal that it feels super long for them because it's really dramatic, or do they actually stay still like that for a while? Or what if one person likes the other but not vice versa? Does it still freeze? Is it from one person's perspective? Is it only for mutual crushes? I need to know how to stop time. Natsuo then catches a heated conversation between Hina and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is at the front door and he's ringing the doorbell. And he's ringing it some more, and are they gonna answer it? Nope, because she doesn't like her boyfriend, and Natsuo's not gonna answer it. Oh, but he's still ringing the doorbell. Oh no, what's that? Rui's gonna answer the doorbell, and no, it's not her boyfriend. I don't really have a particular spot to talk about this, so I'll just put it here, but the OP is fucking fire. I've been told it's a common opinion that most people think the opening's way too good for this show, and I'd have to agree. Like, what the fuck? The music is awesome. It's got these cool shots, it's got symbolism. This show doesn't have symbolism. The animation is really good. I mean, it still has some fan service, and oh my god, this shot of the girl on the piano in the rain is so fucking cool. They have this one shot of the character I haven't talked about yet, running by a puddle, and her reflection stop when she doesn't. I don't know what it means, but it's fucking cool. Their faces convey emotions in such a subtle way compared to the show. It's just fucking awesome. Anyways, back to the show. Looking back at the show while writing this, I've noticed Natsuo does a lot of writing throughout the whole show that I somehow missed on my first watch through. It's important to the plot later on, and I obviously noticed it then, but I somehow missed it because no one actually brings it up verbally most of the time. There's still a lot of shots in the show where you can tell that it's being made on a very limited budget, but I honestly can't blame the animators. The animation outside of the intro is decent, and the intro, oh my god. Natsuo goes to a cafe where his friend is working, and the bartender yells at Natsuo for calling them some other name and then just tells him to call them Marie. Watching this the first time, I thought this character was trans, but no, he's just gay. I don't think gay people pick women's names. Is Marie a guy's name? Apparently Jody's a boy's name, according to goodhousekeeping.com. Marie offers some advice and everyone ignores him. It wasn't very good advice. His friend tells him that what he was feeling the night before was jealousy because her boyfriend was nearby. So he's jealous of her stalker, quite possibly abusive boyfriend and their failing relationship? What? Natsuo's friend keeps complaining that women are like worse than men or some shit like that. Natsuo's friend is an incel, go figure. They reenact romance like in an old movie, and this scene was pretty good. Yeah, Marie, you take your man back!
Marie! What are you doing making a pass at my husband like he'd waste his time on a skank like you?
His friend then tells him a list of his crushes that he has, one of which is an office worker who is having an affair. What a great description. Oh shit, it's Hina. This is actually how Natsuo finds out that Hina's having an affair. Damn, Natsuo's gotta compete with 2 guys to fuck his stepsister. This is some good writing. Natsuo confronts Hina about her affair. She says she doesn't know what he's talking about, so Natsuo just starts saying lines from the drama they were reenacting. Natsuo just fucking kill. She finally takes him seriously and says, so what of it? Damn, Natsuo was not prepared for that one. She brushes him off and says it has nothing to do with him and that it's part of the adult world to cheat. She's just too mature for you to understand, Natsuo. He responds to this by forcibly kissing her, and she appears to enjoy it. She then pushes him off and slaps him. Maybe I was mistaken on that last comment. Oh, never mind. She pulls him in for another kiss because she just can't resist the inescapable allure of infidelity. Seriously, who fucking knows why she did this? What the fuck is going on? She then rips open his shirt and sits on top of him like she's going to kill him. Apparently she did this to test him if he would be afraid of it, and he was, so she says,
Your eyes are still those of a child's.
yeah, Jeffrey Epstein was just testing all those children.
What the hell am I doing?
What the hell am I doing indeed? Natsuo left a note. I don't know what it says because I don't speak Japanese. I think he ran away though. His parents suspect it's because of their marriage, but Hina knows. Natsuo decided to stay at his friend's place overnight. His friend says that Natsuo is probably going to be done with Hina, so his friend plans to swoop in and exploit her while she's vulnerable. What a likable character. I don't know how you're supposed to feel about his friend. I think he's supposed to be funny because he's horny and has no morals. Apparently Rui also wants to stay at his friend's house too because she's sick of Hina's shit, so she went to Natsuo's friend's house? Oh yeah, Rui doesn't have any friends because she's a dick. Better add that one to the pile. Apparently Rui is also here because she also confronted Hina about her affair, and she got the old, oh, you wouldn't get it, I'm an adult, you have the eyes of a child, I'm gonna groom your brother. They both agree that Hina should break up with the guy she's dating who is married, so she would only be dating one person. They both go home, Rui gets a hug, Natsuo gets fucked. Apparently his parents just assumed that they both ran away because they were unhappy with their parents' marriage, so they were getting ready to be divorced without even asking. I feel like these two are just looking for an excuse to get divorced. Now, many of you might see the scene of Hina kissing Natsuo and essentially grooming him as fucked up, but my friends abide by what I have named the Masato rule, which says that you are allowed to groom minors if you are attractive. Now, unfortunately for Hina, I don't think she's hot. I'm just saying it how it is. Hina is not hot enough to groom a minor. Let's get this bitch locked up.
I can see the way you look at me.
Rui and Natsuo team up to try to break up Hina's affair. They do this by spying on her while she's coaching volleyball because they suspect she'll be visiting the mystery affair man afterwards. Instead, Hina goes out drinking by herself for 4 hours. Hina, are you okay? She does this anime girl run to catch a comedy show, and they continue to follow her. She starts laughing on the side of the road for no reason, and it's played like it's a completely normal thing to do. They have now been spying on her for several days, and Natsuo has brought his friend to join them. They have found nothing. In an act of desperation, they take her phone while she's in the shower and start going through it, but oh shit, it's in Japanese. How are we gonna figure out what it says? So they planned for Rui to do an impression of Hina and call the affair man instead of just sending him a text or looking through her past texts or goddamn anything else. Rui, of course, fucks it up and hangs up. Apparently their original plan was to have Rui break up with him over the phone using her terrible Hina impression. Jesus, these two are fucking stupid. They go to the cafe and keep making gay jokes at Marie's expense, and they're just fucking dick sausages. Hina and the affair man walk into the cafe while they're talking, and Natsuo gets real righteous for a second and tries to guilt trip him and slap him against the wall. Marie says that violence is not allowed in the restaurant and gets them to sit down and talk it out. Marie, being the absolute Chad that he is, tries to advertise the drama in order to get more business. Affair man's name is I Don't Care, and he introduces himself like Yoshikage Kira for some reason.
I'm Shu Hagiwara. I'm 32. I'm married and no children.
Of course, if I were ever to engage in combat, I would win the battle without question.
Rui wants to know who started the relationship, and it's revealed to be Affair Man. This whole situation's kinda weird though. He's kind of a weirdly complicated character. He offers to divorce his current wife to keep dating Hina if the two of them will give him their blessing, but something's wrong. He's too nice. Too nice for an adulterer in a show like this. I think he's a twist villain. If I'm wrong, I can just never bring up this line again, and if I'm right, wouldn't be the first time my baseless accusations have been correct. Wait, so is Hina also dating another guy, or do they mean she's having an affair as in she is dating someone who is already married? I could have sworn they said they were going to break her up with the man who was married instead of the other guy, but the other guy is never mentioned again or relevant. Is there another guy? I don't think there's another guy. The reason Hina's been crying as of recent is because he's still married to the other lady and he says he still needs more time. Natsuo interrupts him and yells cut the shit, and Rui just throws water in his face and leaves. The waitstaff is just enthralled by these unraveling of events. Natsuo follows Rui and she is not pleased with the events that have gone down. Rui says that she never wants to see that guy again and she starts crying.
You know, when they're around that age, kids have a particularly strong sense of justice.
True! Affair man tells Hina that he can tell that Natsuo is in love with her, and he asks what she thinks of him, and she just brushes it off. Hina says that they should stop seeing each other for a while, and he says that she should focus on her own feelings. Dang, like, why does this guy give actually good advice? I kind of expected a show like this to make any character that commits adultery pure evil. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time this show surprised me. The next day it's Mother's Day, so Natsuo goes to his dead mother's grave. I guess dead mom was kind of redundant in that last sentence. Rui and Hina also come, and Hina tells the both of them that she broke up with the guy to have a clear conscience. What the fuck was the point of that affair?
I know you talk about me all the time again and again.
Episode 5 starts with Hina refusing to eat asparagus because she's very whiny. Natsuo decides to randomly say,
Isn't it kinda nice? Really feels like we've become family.
Natsuo, please. If you're going to try to fuck your new stepsister, you gotta stop calling her your stepsister. After that, Rui asks Natsuo why he ran away yesterday, and he says he forgot, and then proceeds to run away. I mean, I guess he remembered. Rui is talking to a girl who really likes stuffed animals in the locker room, and there's surprisingly no fan service in this scene. This girl's name is Momo, and I don't really have anything to say about her right now. She likes stuffed animals, it's not that complicated. She gives a stuffed bunny to Rui, and later the other girls throw it out saying that she has a nymphovirus because she's apparently very horny and has sex with a lot of guys. Rui decides not to give in to peer pressure, and she says she'll decide for herself who she decides to hang out with. Momo then makes a doll of Rui because she's a fucking freak. Oh my god, what the fuck is that ice cream shot? Momo says that she has bad experiences with men and that she has a hard time keeping friends and that she hopes Rui will be her friend.
It's unusual to see you hanging out with someone.
Natsuo's voice just bothers me on a deeper emotional level. It's not even like generic, I just hate it.
As you know, I do like someone right now. I didn't have time to style it. I ran out of time this morning. Just because you think that doesn't mean... Oh, okay. Shouldn't you be a little more careful about how you word things? I lost my virginity.
Natsuo then moves Momo out of the way so she doesn't get hit by a bike, and she falls head over heels for him right in that moment. I've seen this trope a lot, that man grabs woman because she falls over or something and she's suddenly interested in him. It just seems kind of ridiculous to me, but women in the audience, if you found your partner or spouse this way, feel free to disprove my doubts. The next scene, Momo asks Rui if Natsuo has a girlfriend and if she can go out with him. Rui says that she has no authority over the situation and therefore cannot stop her, so she gives Natsuo her phone number. While she's running away, Natsuo identifies the type of panties she's wearing, and it's literally never relevant again. Rui is sick, so Natsuo is taking care of her. Rui starts getting undressed in front of him. Natsuo gets annoyed, but she objects, asking why he even gets flustered at this point.
Can you take care of my back?
She's your younger sister now. Your younger sister. You sick, sick person.
I actually laughed out loud at this scene. Like, what the fuck was that voice? I don't speak Japanese. Rui tells Natsuo Momo has a crush on him, and he seems totally bewildered by this fact, despite the fact that he already knew she was going to ask him out on a date. I guess he thought she was asking him out when she didn't have a crush on him. I don't fucking know. Rui asks Natsuo if there's anyone else he likes because the idea of him and Momo going out makes her uneasy, and holy fuck, Rui is dying. Just a warning before I move on. This scene gets a little NSFW, so skip to the timestamp listed if you're not okay with that. Natsuo finds out her medicine is one of those butt medicines because convenience. I'm not sure what the term is. Ass medicine. Since Rui can't do it herself conveniently, Natsuo has to shove it up her butt while she's moaning, because sick people sexually moan. It's just part of the condition. God fucking damn it, what was that pill opening? He makes this weird face of pleasure, and instead of, just looking where he's putting it, he decides that that would be too embarrassing, so he decides to just feel around for her butthole. What the fuck is this dude thinking? Oh fuck, they show it going in. I'm gonna kill myself. Just gonna move on from that. The next day at school, Natsuo mentions Momo to his friends, to which they respond, Momo is kinda easy. It's weird that we banged the same chick. It's one of those two men have sex with the same woman metaphors. Natsuo says to Momo that there's something he wants really badly, but he can't communicate it properly, and she goes to comfort him. They go back to her house where they start kissing. She gets on top of him and takes off her sweatshirt.
Plus, she's not family, and she's not sensei.
This dude's fucking thought process is amazing. I need that on a shirt. I don't speak Japanese. They talk about the fact that Momo's parents don't get along, so they don't eat dinner as a family. Damn, Natsuo is fucking the mentally ill girl. Also, they just casually drop that she cuts herself, and she's like, don't worry, it's not recent, I'm fine, and they continue fucking. They eat dinner afterwards, and she says she hides her scars because most guys end up distancing themselves after finding out about them. She then declares that her and Natsuo are going out, and Natsuo objects, saying you shouldn't go out with the person you depend on. And then the episode ends.
Come over here and tell me what I wanna hear.
The episode starts with Natsuo just vaguely saying that he needs to buckle up and get that project done. Yeah, the project. He meets his teacher on the roof smoking. He reminds me of Courier from Akudama Drive, so I'm just gonna call him Mailman. They talk about some authors Natsuo likes to read, and then he does this.
I think you and I would get along pretty well. You have expressive eyes.
Holy fuck, Natsuo is just the object of lust for everybody these days.
They say that the greatest reward in life is obtained through intellectual pursuits.
Who says that? Looking back at Momo in the intro after knowing who she is, it feels like it should be symbolic, but it literally just shows her bra through her shirt. Does this mean something? I don't get it. Rui asks Natsuo if he can do her a favor, and he immediately assumes she wants to have sex with him again. Natsuo, please. You already have a boyfriend. What she actually wants is for him to introduce her to clubs. She also says that Momo was happy with the food he made for her, and Natsuo notices that Rui is jealous of how he treats Momo because Natsuo is just irresistible. Natsuo's friends come with him to look at the all-girls clubs. I don't know how they think they're going to be able to join. Rui insults them, and then they go to the courtyard to ogle the girls playing sports. Now they're saying they're going to add the girls playing sports to the old spank bank. The fuck does that mean? Does he have a photo? Or does he just mentally capture it to recall later? How does this work?
And I hate to break it to you, most guys are like that. They're just vocal about it.
Don't be grouping me in with you, Natsuo. In this scene, the girl from the intro is making out with Mailman. She tells Natsuo that she was just picking out an eyelash out of Mailman's eye, and Natsuo fucking believes her. Why do you need another person to pick an eyelash out of your eye? Why does it need to be your student? What is this, Catholic school? This place is full of fucking groomers. Now that I'm looking back on it after finishing the show, I actually think she was picking an eyelash out of his eye, seeing as it never comes back, but this show's got all sorts of crazy shit that never comes back. Mailman then forces Natsuo to join the literature club by just stating that he's in it. Then Mailman blackmails him into joining. Blackmail is so based. The girl is very excited to have him join, and she is very formal with people she first meets. Mailman forces him to hand out flyers for the club, and Natsuo agrees because blackmail. Classic blackmail. Green Hair doesn't hand out any flyers because she's too quiet, and he tells her everyone has their own strengths. People in this show blush over everything. I don't speak Japanese. Mailman says that because both of them are writing romance novels, they should kiss. And she's just fine with it because she listens to everything he says. Natsuo's reaction here is just amazing, by the way. Natsuo is much more reluctant, and he doesn't do it because she starts crying when he gets close and says it's too forced. His teacher says he understands Natsuo's character more by what he just did. There's a lot of weird scenes like this one where she feeds him chocolate. I'm not really sure what the point of it is or where this romance is going. Still don't speak Japanese. Natsuo and Green Hair Girl continue to write notes to each other, and I have no idea what they're saying. Who the fuck didn't caption this? Based on the context, I presume they're not allowed to talk in the library, but they did yesterday, so who knows. Momo talks to Green Hair for a bit about some shit, and Rui is just amazed by the club's existence. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's Marie! Let's fucking go! The king! The Chad! Our gay queen!
Rui tells Marie that things have felt off with her, and he immediately assumes that she would rather be a boy, and she just ignores him. Rui confesses that she feels uneasy about the group. Marie then reveals that he used to be in the fucking Yakuza. God damn, he's so cool. Oh my god, they're using Italian mafia voices. This is so good.
Even still, they're late. Those dumbasses are the ones that specified the time. There's a limit to going too far.
During his time there, he met someone in the Yakuza that he fell in love with. Marie says that what she's feeling may not be love, but she'll have to figure it out for herself. But strong emotions are often accompanied by pain. But he still treasures those off feelings he had. Hina apologizes for the stress she caused Natsuo with the affair, and she offers to go out with him to alleviate that, and it cuts to the credits like that was a big deal. I think it's just like a sibling thing. I don't think Hina's interested. Natsuo, do you think this is a date?
Better yet, make a girlfriend disappear.
It was around this time I realized how much I don't like Natsuo's voice actor. I'm sure the issue is that he sounds like a generic dub voice actor. I decided to look up what else he did while I was writing the script to see if it was just the voice actor, but apparently he voiced Marco from Attack on Titan, Karma from Assassination Classroom, and Angelo Lagusa from 91 Days. So I guess I just don't like this performance. He just sounds so lifeless. I mean, maybe that's what was written on the instructions? They have a short conversation in the car about how Hina got her license back in college, and Natsuo is surprised by this for some reason. She then mentions that she also got her motorcycle license. There's a lot of scenic shots where characters will just look out at the shoreline or the area around them, and I mean, I guess people do this in real life, but in the context of media, it would signal to me that they're reflecting on something, but like, what is he reflecting on? That Hina has a license? That she has a motorcycle license? That she's not in jail. They go to a restaurant and a waitress comments that they have good chemistry. Natsuo blushes and she bonks him.
Maybe I'll go have some fun alone then, since you know I'm still a child.
You're still bitter that I called you a child, am I right?
Yeah, no shit. Hina says that she doesn't actually believe that Natsuo is like a child, but she only said that because she thought it would be the words that would hurt him the most. What the actual fuck is wrong with you? They do a flashback to when Hina was younger. You know this because she has short hair, unlike adults. Adults have long hair. She's in the bathroom and some students are doing that whole gossiping about someone while they're listening, but they're in a stall so they don't know that they're there for exposition and to communicate the general public's perception to the character. Quagsire! She gets acquainted with one of her teachers who always cheers her up, and it's actually really sweet. Wait, is that the teacher she was dating? God fucking damn it. I swear to God, I didn't plan this out as like giving the show some credit only to pull it away as a joke. I genuinely didn't recognize him at first. Natsuo finally tells Hina he has been in love with her for the longest time, and she just gives him this 1,000-yard stare. Then she agrees to go out with him if he keeps it a secret. Then she drags... What the fuck? Then she drags him out in the ocean for them to both drown. Like, actually for real, that's not a joke. What the fuck? She's actually going to kill both of them. What the fuck did she mean, keep it a secret? She's killing them both. She says that people will eventually find out, and that would mean throwing away everything, which is the same as committing double suicide. Ah, that makes sense. Keeping your relationship a secret equals drown yourself in the ocean and commit murder. I see where your head's at, Hina. Because Natsuo doesn't want to kill himself, though, she does not agree to date him, and then he hugs her. I'm getting the sense Hina is extremely mentally ill, and I thought Rui was bad. Well, Rui still likes Natsuo. I guess that's a sign of mental illness. They both go home and Hina reads the story Natsuo wrote for her in which the main character is based off of her and she cries on it. Who the fuck sits like that? What is up with the staring in this show? Characters just stare so much. Momo is still hitting on Natsuo, and it's really not very important. That night, Rui comes by his room and sits down. She grabs his hand and mentions that when they first met, they didn't kiss while they had sex. Natsuo says that he feels like kissing is more special in a strange kind of way. So Rui asks if they can kiss now. Natsuo objects and says that they're siblings and so they can't, and then he remembers Hina's double suicide line and then suddenly agrees. What does that mean? They flash back to the Hina quote from earlier, and this suicide that she was mentioning is because she says people won't respect them anymore if they find out, and their lives are effectively over by that logic. But what does that have to do with Rui? It's the exact opposite advice that Hina gave him. He clearly respects what Hina has to say and probably licks the sweat off of her chair at the end of the day, but he somehow uses this to justify kissing Rui. It's just, So they kiss. They fucking kiss. Rui says she enjoyed it and wants to do it again occasionally. Natsuo immediately regrets the taste of his sister's lips and does not want to do that again. I don't speak Japanese. Bro fucking poles. Every goddamn girl is jealous of him hanging out with everyone else, but bro has no personality.
You have a hard time with this kind of grammar, don't you, Natsuo? You didn't do well on your quiz from yesterday either.
Maybe it's because he's daydreaming about Ashihara during his classes.
She is so fucking jealous.
I wanted to hear all about your fleeting tales of youth.
I don't know why, I just really liked that line. It was like weirdly poetic. Later, Natsuo checks out Hina's room and finds her fucking masturbating. I don't even know why I'm surprised. They thought that this was a good time to play the most dramatic music ever, and Natsuo was spying on her. Now she's moaning his name, of course she is. Oh no! Natsuo dropped his book. She's gonna know he's outside, but wait! Natsuo gets away in time and she doesn't find out that it was him. Well, she knows someone was watching her masturbate, and all the candidates are probably not a good sign. The next day while they're at school, he stares at her hand because, I don't know, masturbation or something. A pure virgin skin has been tainted. Mailman congratulates the writing club on getting good final exam scores, and then the episode ends.
I don't wanna hear you say her name ever again.
Natsuo thinks back on his recent interactions with Hina and observes that she still acts cheerful around him, but it feels different than it used to. Natsuo goes downstairs and Rui asks him if he took her underwear. Her underwear is the only one missing from the rack hanging outside, and she was curious if Natsuo took it because Rui's weird and assumes this is a normal thing to do. I wrote in my notes on this scene that I presumed it would never be relevant again, but apparently it is. I mean, its relevance is not well written, but it is relevant. Some kid named Alex is riding through the hallway on a bike and runs into Natsuo. Can we get that one more time? Alex is blonde, his name is Alex, and he's loud, so I assume he's American. And so Natsuo and Alex bond over the fact that they're both second years. Oh, and of course he has to be at least part Japanese. God forbid there's a character in anime that's just foreign. What the fuck? Are they gonna get bounty hunters to track down the panty thief? Yo, Alex is just spitting the most legendary lines.
So he's one of those fabled hentai guys. Yeah, I heard about those creeps all the way back in America. But let's be real, how are clean undies a turn-on? They're just cloth at that point, am I right?
You know what? I'm proud to have Alex as my representation. They go for a walk, Alex is being racist, and while they're talking, the panty thief runs right in front of them. Alex runs after the thief Persona 5 style and then kicks him in the fucking head. I have mixed feelings on Alex. They are both at the police station since they caught him by making a citizen's arrest, and Rui walks in. She asks the police for her underwear back and they say that they need it for evidence. Jesus Christ, these police really are fucking pigs. Alex thinks that Rui is hot and wants to go out with her. Natsuo and Rui walk home together, and Rui says that the police suspect the panty thief had pedophilic tendencies, and literally immediately after she says that, Natsuo thinks of Alex asking him to introduce him to Rui. You trying to tell us something, Natsuo? Trying to say something about Alex, Natsuo? No? You better watch your fucking mouth, Natsuo. This whole situation makes Natsuo wonder how he feels about Rui. Then Rui gives him the evil eye for no discernible reason. I genuinely have no idea. He gets home and everyone's just acting like Natsuo is the hero of town and sucks his dick like he was in serious danger of confronting a panty thief.
A real underwear thief?
I don't know if we're familiar with the same kind of people, but I don't exactly think of panty thieves as the most intimidating people. Natsuo tells Rui that Alex is interested in her and says that they should hang out as a group. Rui gets mad, cries a bit, and slams her door, probably because she thinks Natsuo is trying to get rid of her by setting her up with someone else. Natsuo comes by later with some food and apologizes. She says that if he's going to apologize, he should just kiss her again. Natsuo, being mature, realizes that this is an unhealthy way to deal with the situation, and nah, I'm just fucking with you. Of course he kisses his sister again. Then he just grabs her boob without asking, and she says she's okay with it after. Natsuo, buddy, I think you got your order mixed up. Also, she's your sister. Then Hina walks in while they're kissing, and neither of them react or do anything for a second. Hina looks on in horror and says she'll come back later. Natsuo chases after her, but she says whatever he has to say, she wouldn't believe him. Don't worry, Natsuo. I wouldn't believe you either. Instead, Rui goes over to Hina's room to talk to her. Hina condemns Rui for asking Natsuo to kiss her, but Rui justifies it by saying that they're not blood related. Hina responds that their mom would be heartbroken if she found out. The next day, Alex yells about how he got rejected by Rui and says he underestimated the shyness of Japanese girls. You know, Alex, maybe you're just a piece of shit who says occasional bangers. And those bangers won't be enough for every Japanese girl. Or anyone. They're not enough for me right now. Come on, Alex, you're falling down the ranking. You're just beating out Natsuo, and he has the personality of wet bread. Natsuo explains to Alex that he's feeling down because he's going through some family troubles. Alex tells Natsuo that he should talk to his family about it. Hina asks Natsuo if he likes Rui the same way he likes her, and he says he still likes Hina. Because of this, Hina decides to move out. Once again, his parents suspect it's because of their remarriage. Jesus Christ, you two, just break off your fucking unstable marriage. This is like the opposite of a ship. I want you two to break up. What would that be called? Like a Titanic? I Costa Concordia these two's marriage. Hina tells Rui she's not the reason she's moving out, even though she is. Then they go to a festival together to do stuff as a family. You know, like non-consensual groping. Rui says that she and Natsuo should stop kissing for a while until they have things sorted out. Did Natsuo ever even agree to them kissing becoming a regular thing? I don't remember.
Oh, hey! If it isn't Natsuo!
What's with that getup?
Since you're here, might as well get down and shake that ass!
Yeah, tell her, Marie! Hina then drops her phone in some fish pond and it breaks. I wonder if this is relevant. Natsuo brings Hina over to the shrine at the festival to talk about her moving out. She says that it's not about him and that it was just bad timing. Hina tells him it's for his own sake and for her peace of mind, and then just refuses to elaborate and walks away. While he's trying to follow her, he yells for Marie to stop her, and then Marie puts her in a fucking arm lock. I love him so much.
Oh my, it's true. Darling, your face looks extremely ugly and twisted right now.
Joke's on you, because it's always been ugly.
That's not true. Well, maybe.
I love him so much. They all go over to the side of the festival, and Marie lectures Hina on being a shitty adult or something. I don't know, I didn't really care about this scene. Hina eats a lollipop and cries, I don't really know why. Marie gives Natsuo some advice on consoling people and then walks off with the others, leaving the two of them alone. Hina finally admits that she got mad because she was super jealous of him and Rui, and she thought she wasn't going to be able to handle it. Probably shouldn't have made him kill himself. She gets mad at him for no reason, and then they do this stupid romance scene that's really bad, and they hold each other while playing more dramatic music.
She's like, so whatever.
The episode starts out with Hina telling Natsuo she will be moving out anyway despite them making up over their fight. She says she'll still visit frequently, and he gets really excited at the prospect of visiting her, so she considers taking it back. Rui is still sad about Hina moving out, so she goes to a store and sees a conveniently related book about sister conflicts. There she runs into Hina's ex and that guy from Free. He lectures Rui on her hostility towards a fair man, and she does an anime face. Hina's ex brings Rui and Mailman to the cafe to apologize, where Marie asks him if he turned gay after the affair ended. Marie, you vulture. Picking at the desperate and vulnerable, what a fucking king. So a fair man tells Rui she can order whatever she wants because he's paying for it, so she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. He says he recently divorced his wife and says it's unrelated to Hina. He asks how Hina's been doing, so Rui catches him up on the events that have taken place and tells him she believes Hina is moving out because of her. Hina's ex actually gives her some good advice. He says that Hina is probably telling her the truth and that it's not her fault that Hina is moving out. He seems kind of like a good guy. I mean, he's no Marie, but take what you can get. So Rui goes to talk to Hina and lays on her lap, begging her not to move out. Rui still thinks she is moving out because she told Hina she likes Natsuo. I mean, Rui wouldn't have been caught up in all of this if she didn't fawn over this man with no personality other than writing a book we never get to see or know anything about. But to be fair, the other male characters in this show are either adults or terrible people. But these words do not sway Hina. She says that she wants Rui to be her own person and expects the same respect out of her. Then Hina sends Natsuo a letter giving him a key to her apartment. She definitely won't regret this later. Rui almost catches him with the key and he does a little bit of blushing. Natsuo thinks about the key and it's apparently some complicated thing to him because he thinks Hina is testing him to see if he has the resolve to go through with loving her, something like that. I don't know. Hina doesn't make any fucking sense. Neither does Rui. Momo is the only one who makes any sense. She likes sex, cutting, and stuffed animals. It's not that complicated. Natsuo says to Rui that it's lonely without Hina, and Rui hugs him sadly, and she says that she's glad she won't be going through it alone. That's what you think, Rui-chan! He goes over to Hina's house and stands by awkwardly ringing the doorbell until he gives up and just unlocks the door. She's sleeping at the moment, and he blushes creepily watching her sleep. Oh fuck, he's sitting down. Don't get any ideas, Natsuo. We're all aware your order of operations isn't in order. She wakes up with him sitting on her bed and she isn't creeped out for some reason. Bro is still calling her sensei. Like, are you trying to become her partner or not? He tells her he wouldn't mind dying if it was with her, and she says that because it makes her happy to hear that, it makes her a failure as a teacher. What the fuck are they talking about? Why did I review this show? They kiss, and Natsuo says it was the first real kiss since the last time she forced it on him, and apparently that was his first kiss overall. Must have been a real romantic night with Rui that one time. Motherfucker wasn't even trying. He pulls her shirt up a bit and she pushes him back, saying that she doesn't want to rush things. I also like that he said he wouldn't be able to stop himself during that scene and then proceeds to stop himself. Also, I would be very happy if I never had to hear the line, "I won't be able to stop myself ever again." Like, just take rejection, people. She makes them both coffee and he makes that stupid face again for the 800th time. She says not to worry as they will have plenty of opportunities, and he just makes this face. Damn, I love these student walking animations. Him and Rui are walking to school and she says trashy gangster mystery, and it's just the best thing ever.
Trashy gangster mystery.
The American is back. He jumps on Natsuo's back and he's super nervous around Rui and he aggressively wants to be her friend. Like, bro, we just talked about this. Can somebody fucking kill this dude? This isn't even about stereotyping anymore. He's just fucking annoying. Mailman is so freaking creepy, particularly in this scene, but he says he'll allow Alex into the club despite him having no interest because they'll get a budget for having 5 members. Someone refers to Alex as a Yankee, and Natsuo runs into Hina in the hall while talking to his friends. Hina acts professional with the students who clearly want to fuck her just as much as Natsuo because this is just normal. Then Natsuo does that stupid face again. I'm not really sure why this just clicked with me now, but seeing Hina act as a teacher made me realize how fucked up this whole relationship is. He says to Hina that he's getting the impression that she's not ready for their relationship and says he's feeling insecure because it seems like she's avoiding him. Natsuo, you're dating your teacher. She is not allowed to be dating you. Do you expect her to make out with you in front of other students? Even if you weren't her student, she still wouldn't be allowed to do anything in school. Ah, fuck, now they're kissing in the hallways. I swear they're gonna be fucking in the janitor's closet come next episode.
And she can do so much better.
Episode 10 starts out with a shot of them kissing while she's making food, and Bro is still calling her sensei. At this point, I can't help but feel like this is a fetish thing for him. The girls from the clubs are all wearing maid outfits for the festival because Professor Sex Offender. I mean, to promote the club? What do maid outfits have to do with literature? Also, Alex is wearing one and everyone laughs at him. Boy and girl clothing, funny. The 3 members of the book club who actually give a shit go to their teacher's apartment. I don't know which just based on the name, and this apartment is actually kind of sick. I want a book wall. I mean, I won't read any of it, but I still want it. There's some girl in the teacher's apartment who is really obsessed with him. Then he eventually goes to talk to the club members while he's still smoking. The teacher is apparently a writer, and that girl was his editor. Why would an editor be obsessed with their author? If anything, I imagined editors to be like annoyed secretaries that hate their bosses. That's a trope, right? Still not sure why she called him sensei if she's his editor. Why am I even talking about this? She never comes back. Natsuo was really damn excited about the fact that he's an author. He grabs his hand and is just smitten with him. Yeah, no dice, Natsuo. He only goes for teenage girls. So apparently he's a writer Natsuo really likes, but it was kind of weird that Natsuo was so amazed that he was a writer at all even before he knew which author he was. Natsuo, he's an English teacher. A lot of them write things. At least I think he's an English teacher. Maybe he's just some pedo who hangs around the school. Judging by their staffing decisions, that doesn't seem out of the question. The next day, Natsuo calls out Green-haired girl for liking their teacher and she elbows it. I kind of forgot about this line. Hold on, read. She elbows him down the fucking stairs. Who fucking knows why? Somebody wrote this. He expresses to Hina that he's sad he won't be able to sneak over to her place and fuck his teacher. You know, I just noticed. Hina has a stupid face. I mean, that's valid criticism, isn't it? Natsuo is injured after falling down the stairs, and he's eating his bed while Rui sits on his bedside, and Rui's just being a fucking asshole. She says that she's happy he broke his leg, and Natsuo gets mad at her for saying that. But instead of apologizing or, doing anything else, she kisses him since he can't do anything about it. runs in the family. She says she's annoyed that he's been eating at Hina's. I'm sure Natsuo is annoyed that you're being a fucking psychopath. But wait, she says she's going to take really good care of him. Isn't that sweet? The next day at school, everyone is watching Natsuo waiting to suck his dick, and oh... is this a more normal thing in Japan? Green Hair Girl apologizes profusely for pushing him down the stairs because it was just such an accident. His friends later tell him to take advantage of the situation and make her do something probably not legal. Later he's in the bath and Rui just walks in and doesn't care, and it seems like he does. She says he won't be able to wash himself while he's injured, so she'll do it for him. Natsuo asks her to turn off the lights so they won't be able to see each other. He feels bad because he feels like being washed by Rui is cheating. Natsuo, you're about to be sexually assaulted. By no means is this cheating. So Rui reaches around for a bottle while she's washing him and grabs his dick, and so Natsuo does this. Okay, that one kinda got me. The next day, Rui goes to a cafe and tells Marie about the situation, and he continues being the best character.
Men get cocked upright at times like that, so don't be so hard on him.
Rui tells Natsuo's friend that he won't be over for a while, and his friend says that he hasn't been over in a long time, and she figures out he's been going to Hina's and lying about going to his friend's house. She confronts him about it and asks why he's been lying. He lies about it again and says that he's been going over to Momo's, and she does another anime face. So she's being possessive and he's a compulsive liar. They both suck. Apparently his friend knows about him and Hina. I'm not sure why he told him, but Natsuo tells his friend he's going to use him as an excuse whenever he goes to Hina's. Probably should have told him about this before. Natsuo tells Rui he's going to his friend's house for real this time and tells her it's the honest truth. She says she believes him and he fucking lied again. He went to go make out with Hina. I don't really like taking sides in arguments in TV shows, but like, everyone just sucks. Except Marie, you're beautiful.
You were too good for this world.
He asks Hina if she would bathe with him if they were still home, and she says that she would, and he is really fucking happy about that. He decides to take a bath at Hina's anyway, even though he's going to have to do it again when he gets home. Never mind, he's not doing that. Rui shows up at Hina's and just walks right in to find Natsuo sitting there. Hey, he's making a different face for once. I feel like this could have been a really interesting twist where Rui just kills him and we just have a different, better story. Instead, she just runs out crying. No murder in rom-coms. Like, I know Rui is being really possessive over someone she has no authority over, but he should probably just stop lying. He clearly doesn't like her, so why is he trying to save face in that regard? He goes home and asks his dad where Rui is, and he's just like, I don't know, maybe she went to the supermarket. I honestly love characters who have no idea what's going on in really dramatic situations. Is Rui not home because of our marriage? We should get a divorce. Rui apparently went to Natsuo's friend's house first, and he tried to cover for him, but it obviously didn't work. What would she have done if he was actually there? Rui is sitting out in the rain and Natsuo gives a half-assed apology. Then she slaps him and clings to his chest, saying that he's a liar. He mentions to Rui how much he suffered to go and find her. Bro is for real pulling the injury card. Rui says that she found his story that is literally just his and Hina's story, and Rui is just figuring out now that Natsuo loves Hina. I'll be honest, I thought she already knew. Maybe it wasn't that obvious. Wait, why the hell did she care if he was going over to Hina's? If she had no idea there was any romantic connection, what does it fucking matter if he's visiting his sister? What the fuck is wrong with you, Rui? Well, this explains why Rui looks so sad in the outro. Now, this is around the point in the story in which it just gets worse. The rest of the show I thought was just kind of whatever. I didn't really feel very strongly towards it. It was just kind of the TLC anime. But this is where shit gets bad.
I think we should get together now.
They both get home from the rain and Rui lies to their mom about where they were. She's still mad at him though because he's a lying dick. It cuts back to when they were both in the shelter in the rain and Natsuo tells Rui he is going to share his future with Hina. Rui then goes to kiss him and tells him it will be the final time. Rui, just fucking ugh. Rui is sad in the bath again and she's crying. They still walk with each other to school the next day, and Natsuo being Natsuo talks about the dinner they had last night. Rui doesn't give a fuck about that and tells Natsuo for his own good she's going to start disliking him, as it's a tactic of self-preservation to despise someone who is causing you internal strife. I mean, that is a real thing, so I guess points for realism. Their teacher announces to the class that they'll be going on a school trip and makes sure to specify that swimsuits are permitted. This school better hurry up and hire Kamoshida. He seemed to like a certain demographic of teachers. Hina pulls Natsuo aside and asks him what's going on with Rui. Natsuo tells her what's up and says he hopes it won't complicate things. Alex is being Alex, and Reading Girl still feels bad about giving Natsuo a cast. The writing club advisor comes in and announces that Rui won an award for her writing, and Natsuo seems upset about that. Writing Girl sits down with Natsuo and tells him that there will be a lot of failures in his life and that the feelings that come from that are important to our future endeavors. That we can use our feelings to create more empowered art, or in this specific case, writing. You know, that was a good message, Writing Girl. You're the best of us. I should probably learn your name. Natsuo goes to Free for advice and wants to become his apprentice because he wants to be a writer as a job. He says that Natsuo has a good chance to become a successful writer because he has the resolve to become one. I mean, I'm sure somebody liked this scene. Natsuo remembers a lot of writing shit and advice his teachers gave him, and he writes a novel in a genre he's never written before to train himself. He's on a plane now, presumably for the school trip. It was just a very sudden cut. They're hanging out on the island now and doing shit. Alex says he loves Natsuo, says they're besties, and then passionately kisses him. Is this some American stereotype I'm not aware of? Alex then just starts making out with everyone. I don't know why. I think he had a pepper drink or some shit. It's barely explained. Writing Girl is standing in front of their teacher, blushing while wearing a bathing suit. Then Rui pulls over Hina with this face. I don't know, I just thought the cut between them playing volleyball and Rui getting ready to pounce was just really funny. Anyway, she pulls over Hina to tell her bathing suit she's wearing is very inappropriate. Hina ignores that comment and says she doesn't want Rui to hate Natsuo, so she's going to call off things with him. I mean, this is kind of a big deal for this show, and I feel like they're just playing this off like it's nothing. Hina says she regrets their relationship because Rui's been ignoring her. Rui then pulls on Hina's face and says that it doesn't make a difference because her feelings are still there and so she has no interest in them breaking up. Rui says she's over the whole thing, and Hina somehow actually believes her when she says that, despite it being really obvious that she is very much not over it, and kisses Natsuo right after she was extremely mad at him like a week ago. Hina, being, I don't know, fucking stupid, hug tackles Rui. Natsuo texts Hina to meet in a hotel room, and Natsuo wants to take their relationship further, while Hina thinks they shouldn't be doing it at all. She says that the only reason that this happened was because she got carried away with her impulses. She then says that there's no happy ending for them in this. Natsuo gets mad and says that she's talking to him like a little kid. She's not. She's actually being responsible for the first time ever, and Natsuo is acting like a child. Thus, appropriate response.
Stop using our ages or our relation as a reason to tank what we've got.
Then he slips a ring on her finger and says, "This is my rebuttal," and then says some generic love shit. Do not worry about what he says, you're not missing anything. Hina just fucking drops a "you make me so happy" and completely turns a 180 on what she was just talking about. Even the acting on that line was terrible. And then fireworks go off in the background, signaling that this was a good thing or something like that. Natsuo says that he can only afford a cheap ring for now and that he'll get her the real thing because he wants to marry her. And the thing that she decides to cling on to in that sentence was the fact that he called her by her real name instead of Sensei for the first time. I swear this was not the first time he called her by her real name. So I went back and checked. He does it in episode 1. Then they fuck on the hotel bed and the fireworks still go off. I think it's a sex metaphor. Hina tells him she started to fall for Natsuo while they talked on the rooftop at school and says that she wrote it off as a crush at the time. I feel like this implies that having a crush on your student by speaking to them at school is a normal thing. So in my original notes for the scene, I wrote, "I'm not even writing this shit down, this acting is so bad, the writing is so bad." So I had to go back and watch it, and I know why I didn't write it down originally, so I'm just gonna show it to you.
Really?
Do you not believe me? Why are you doubting me?
Natsuo tells Hina he caught her masturbating while whispering her ex's name while they were still dating, and she says that she did it to take her mind off of him and that she was so embarrassed that he caught her. First off, Hina, no. That is not how you get your mind off someone. Do not moan their name while masturbating if you are trying to stop thinking about them. Second off, we're just going to brush over the fact that Natsuo frequently watched Hina masturbate without her knowing. Then I wrote this in my notes. Not writing this shit down either. Just put a clip in the video. Fuck this scene. This should be good.
I want to die! How mortifying!
It's not that big a deal. Guys do it all the time. Hell, I went back to my room to jerk off too.
I'm so humiliated that I can't look you in the eyes. Please know that it's fine to tell me if you end up falling for someone else.
Don't talk like that. It's never gonna happen. I'll get mad if you say that again.
The next day, Hina gets pulled into the principal's office, and the principal says, "There's something I'd like you to review, please," and then just shows her a photo of her and Natsuo making out. I know this scene wasn't meant to be funny, but it just really was. So this last episode is called "I'm Sorry, I Love You." I wonder who is going to say that. Hina got caught slipping and they tell her they found it while going through class photos for the yearbook. Hina looks at the photo stunned by her actions because she's such a tragic character who just wanted to groom her underage stepbrother. I love this guy's voice. He's such a little nerd.
Mrs. Yanase is overseeing the graduation album and found it among the photos.
Mrs. Yanase was overseeing the graduation album. So they confront her about her making out with Natsuo in the school hallway because she's a fucking moron. She doesn't know what to do, so she just lays on the ground and says, "I have no excuse, I accept my punishment." Then she begs for something that isn't shown to the audience. The school gathers in the auditorium on the last day of school before winter break. Natsuo is planning for Christmas with Hina, and everyone looks shocked to see Hina walking on the stage. I feel like a teacher walking on stage is a pretty normal thing. Hina says that she will be transferring schools very suddenly, and the students immediately start gossiping about why. Rui and Natsuo meet up and start talking about how it was a surprise for both of them. Hina is standing on the roof, and I apparently wrote in my notes, it would be a really interesting twist if she killed herself. What the fuck is wrong with me? Hina turns around very excitedly. I presume she was expecting Natsuo, but it was pedo teacher. I mean the other one. He asks her if she's been found out. He says that he had his suspicions about their relationship, especially after reading Natsuo's novel, and that he says it's a shame Karma is such a bitch. It shows a flashback to when Hina's ex was her teacher. She says that she always had feelings for her teacher during their school year, and she never would have been able to hold back those feelings. I mean, I guess she likes both sides of the power dynamic. Hina then leaves a note for Natsuo in her apartment. Holy shit, she did kill herself! Hina's note says she volunteered to transfer in exchange for their relationship to not be made public, and that she's never going to see him again, and she was too weak to tell him. What fucking school is going to accept her? She confesses that she did love him and cherishes the time that they spent together. Natsuo then goes outside and screams. The show has the best way of making things unintentionally funny.
Yeah, Marie! Still the king! Still the king!
Rui tells Marie the situation with Natsuo and Hina skipping town. I've just noticed Natsuo's friend became such an insignificant character over time. Natsuo locks himself in his room and won't talk to anyone. His friend walks in and then delivers the line of the century.
Hey, Natsuo. I heard you're a puddle of depression.
What a caring friend. His friend says that he has to get over it and stop being depressed, and a bunch of fucking useless advice. Yeah, Natsuo. Stop being depressed. Standard pull yourself up by your bootstraps type shit. He left Hina's note on top of his bed, and his friend reads it and then is just a total dick to him and says a bunch of shit that isn't true. Is this show seriously trying to act like Hina is actually a good person? I know Natsuo is a stupid piece of shit, but he's like 17. And if you're 17 watching this, you're also a stupid piece of shit. And that's okay. I don't know. Maybe his friend is supposed to be in the wrong, but it sure doesn't feel that way. It feels like he's the guy that dishes out the tough truths. But like, no. No, they are not truths. Hina is not a good person. She did this because she got caught. This has nothing to do with Natsuo. She didn't want her reputation ruined, and she couldn't continue their relationship.
If you're gonna be like this, then everything Sensei did will have been for nothing!
What the fuck are you talking about? But despite that excellent speech, Natsuo is still sad, and his friend says he needs to take a shower. Well, I can agree on that at least. Showers are good. The parents have no idea what's up with Natsuo, but they find out where Hina went, but decide not to tell their kids. Oh my god, they question their marriage again. Jesus Christ, you two, do you have any other traits besides wanting a divorce? Also, they figure out what's up with Natsuo and Hina because lucky guess or something, I don't know. Rui goes into his room and gives him some hot chocolate. He's still pretty unresponsive and apparently not eating. Rui tells Marie about Natsuo, and I know I haven't talked about this much, but I really like Rui and Marie's relationship.
Hey, Rui?
Huh?
I need a bartender in my life that gives advice. Marie forces Natsuo out of the house and spits fire by telling him that he's being productive by writing his novel and should continue doing it. He takes him into a bathhouse and continues to give advice. He says that he left his family because they were in the Yakuza and that his dad died shortly after. Then he says that there are only two absolutes. You can't turn back time and you can't erase the past. Natsuo actually eats the food and writes a lot, and the visuals are pretty sick. Rui sees how much he's writing and she seems really happy about it. She tells their parents that they're going to be okay. Rui isn't that bad of a character. She's alright. Natsuo says he poured everything inside of him into the writing until there was nothing left. That was actually a pretty good line. Natsuo apologizes to his parents for making them worry. He finishes his novel and then they celebrate the new year by going out and having fun with friends. So all of Rui and Natsuo's friends and Alex show up. They all go to Mailman's house again uninvited, and Natsuo gives him the finished draft. He starts the piece with a quote from Pablo Picasso saying, "Art is born of sadness and suffering." The teacher then says, "I didn't know he had it in him." I didn't know this show had it in it. The writing of the second half of this episode is actually really good so far. His teacher introduces him to a very energetic man who is taking a really long time to explain who he is. Natsuo apparently won a very famous award for amateur writers for his book, and Natsuo gives a shit-ass speech.
This is an incredible honor, and I don't know what to say. I was able to finish writing this novel not just by my own efforts, but by the support of the people who are the most important to me. To be honest, I'm not sure that I can write
Natsuo. His teacher tells him that him winning that award was not a fluke and offers Natsuo the opportunity to work with him. He goes back to the house, and for some godforsaken reason, Hina is there. His life was actually going well, Hina. Guess you can't keep a predator down. Okay, so apparently that was actually Rui wearing Hina's hair and clothes. What the fuck is going on? Okay, so I got a lot of shit to say here. So, Rui was wearing an outfit that just so happened to look exactly like Hina, and Natsuo went to hug her and almost cried, and Rui did cry, and she admits that she dressed like that because Natsuo held her so tightly, presumably because she still has feelings for him. But goddamn, this show is on a roll with the writing and the art stuff about having ambitions to succeed in creative fields and actually portrayed its message of perseverance well. Anyways, back to the episode. Rui still loves him, and Natsuo was not an interesting person up until now. She says that his writing made her realize how much he loved Hina, and she got jealous and would love to make him do that to her. Then she asks if Hina and him fucked, and he says yes, so she gets on top of him and starts making out with him and wants to do it again, but this time with feeling. Listen, Rui, there's this little thing called consent. Oh, never mind, it's the end of the episode. This is the credits. The end credits show Hina saying goodbye to students and that she cut her hair and that she knows about Natsuo's award and she kept his ring, but not on her finger. That's too much. So that was a TV show. I realize I probably came off as pretty cynical during this whole thing, but I usually do really enjoy romance stories. The show is mainly bad because these characters felt like they had no chemistry. A lot of the serious moments in this show just felt really forced and overdramatic, and some of them were just fucking made up. Seriously, I checked. The line where he says that he had never called her by her name before is just fucking wrong. Maybe it was a translation error, I don't care. I'm not giving this show the benefit of the doubt. The one thing I will say about this show that I will give it praise on is that it's certainly not boring, which is the best thing that a bad TV show can be. Compared to something like Nisei Monogatari, stuff actually happens in this show. My notes as well as the script for this show was significantly longer than that one, and it's because although a lot of the writing isn't good, it's still engaging at the very least because there's always something to see. And honestly, I feel like I was being too harsh on the show a lot of the times. It's not well written, but there were some scenes that were genuinely endearing and a lot of small things that I really liked. Compared to Monogatari, which I genuinely summed up everything I liked about it in about 10 seconds, there would be too much to talk about everything that I liked about the show. The OP is fire, the animation is pretty good for what they were given, some of the characters are likable sometimes. Marie? The stuff about art and writing towards the end was really well written, and I wonder if the author of the original series would have been better off writing something in the style of something like Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin. It feels like there are some genuinely good elements in this, but the romance is just so bad. So I haven't really talked about it, but let's address the elephant in the room. Although I made a lot of jokes about it, I don't really agree with the incest criticism of this show. Natsuo and Rui didn't meet each other until they were like 17, so they don't have the social dynamics of siblings, and neither of them are blood related, so I don't really see the issue with that. I don't really have any moral qualms about the two of them together. I mean, they have little to no chemistry, and Rui is attracted to Natsuo's nothing. I really don't know what she sees in him. Most of the girls in the show like him because he shows basic human decency, but that seems pretty standard for a lot of trashy romance and harem shows. They're just really not very compatible. I mean, Natsuo's entire personality is writing and Hina, so I don't really even know who he would mesh well with. But my main problem is with Hina. No, it is not okay to date your students. There's the issue of the age gap, but it's also with the power dynamic and maturity. Natsuo is not particularly mature for his age. He is pretty stupid, which makes sense. Hina is also pretty stupid, so maybe that makes her more compatible with him, but like, I just hate this. They're not engaging to watch. Natsuo is obnoxiously obsessed with her. Hina is an enabler. Natsuo is not an interesting person. Rui is fine when she's not interacting with him. I kind of wanted to get into the weeds of like the moral problems of their relationship, but really it just ends with they're really obnoxious together. I don't like either of them, and Hina isn't hot. She's just really boring. I should also mention there's both a censored and uncensored version of this show, but the differences are so small I'm not even sure why they made two versions. The scenes with nudity are so brief and unnecessary, they could have just cut it out super easily, or if they wanted to stick with the uncensored version for whatever reason. The nudity is so infrequent that I doubt anyone would be bothered by it, assuming they wanted to see the rest of the show. I don't know what to say about this show. Don't watch it, it's bad. Watch the opening, it's really good. Here's my ranking of the characters. Good night, everybody. Natsuo, 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 Natsuo Natsuo, 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 really.